Time to take a coding break. Howdy, coding pros, and welcome to another episode of the Coding Break with your Coding Break host, Tam Talk. I am your medical coding instructor, your Coding Break reminder, and the Coding Break host. So, on today's Coding Break, I want to talk about really doubling down on your niche as well as the AI or artificial intelligence tools presented to you. Again, doubling down on your niche and utilizing or maximizing on the resources of AI. And then the reason why I say that is medical coding is already a niche community or career path. And you can drill down further to, I guess, a sub niche. So because now medical coding has, of course, specialties, right? So medical coding in itself is already a niche environment or community. And then when you specialize in a specific area of coding, you're doubling down or sub-niching. So maximize on that. So only you know, well, I ain't gonna say only you know, but you are the only one who knows how to code your specialty the way that you code your specialty, right? I guess let me go back. So I worked on a project as a consultant where we were like coming up with assessments, right? So on that group project, there were several medical coding professionals. Some of us are inpatient, some of us outpatient, professional, what have you. So as we're coming up with some of the questions or some of the rationales for the questions or the answers to the question, a lot of us had different, I won't say perspectives, of different ways of getting to the answer or the correct answer. And some of us didn't. Some of us did not know. Again, because we were sub-niche. So, for example, an inpatient coder may not necessarily know what is required of a professional coder, just like a professional coder may not know exactly what is required of an inpatient coder, because our journeys are different. Like how we get to our answer or our rationale is different because of the areas that we are sub-niche in. So this is what I'm telling you. So you may be a medical coder, but you may be sub-niche. Use that sub-niche to your ability or capability. For example, again, I'm going to say even with like AI doesn't have to be to the maximum that you may see Google or you may see some of these other brands are using AI like ChatGPT or what have you. You're using AI when you create content online, right? You're using AI when you're doing day-to-day production coding. You're using AI to perhaps, like if you're in compliance, you may have to draft a letter. Not that all of it will be AI generated, but some of the mundane information that you would use may be AI generated, or it may give you a guide on how to generate a report. There's a lot of tools and resources that you can use via AI that will help make your content better. If you're in the online space and you're trying to be a content creator and you're trying to use medical coding as your brand or as your platform. This is just a suggestion from me to you as someone who is a medical coding professional and who has or who is using AI resources to generate content to help those in that are new to medical coding who are still learning medical coding. It provides somewhat of a pretty much you're bringing in the old as well as the new, so that when they come out or when these new coders come out or pass their exam, they are ready. They're equipped. They have the old way. They have the old way of doing things, and then they have the new way of doing things. And when I mean the old way of doing things is they have to know the old way in order to do the new way, right? They have to know the old way in order to do the new way. A good example of that is, I would say, one experience. Well, it's actually several experiences that I had. So sometimes, let's say the system can be down, and so if you're a coder who studied or learned online or with, you wouldn't know how to per se do coding the old way because you grew up or you were accustomed to doing coding online. So you studied online, and then you went into your career path and it was online. Even your books are online. But when the system is down, do you know how to go back and use like the actual paperback books to do your coding? I use that, relate that, to, let's say my student or I say my child, for example. Okay, if you grew up in the computer era, and so if the computer is broken, do you know how to use a pencil? Do you know how to use paper? So that's what I mean by the old school plus the new school. It's good to know both. So because sometimes, especially now with AI, it's things are suggested to you, so you technically don't. I don't want to say you don't know. You know, but you don't know, right? So what you need to know is how to do it the old way. In the event that something happens to AI or the computer is down, you need to know how to pick up the coding manuals. You need to know how to flip through them. You need to know how to research and look up those codes in order to ensure that it's accurate. And again, like I said, with AI into play, coders are becoming more of auditors. We're auditing AI, and when you become an auditor, you need to know it the old way. You need to know what you're looking at. You need to know if the suggested information or suggested codes by AI is correct. You need to know that that information is correct. If you don't know the old way, if you don't know if the information is correct, you could be setting someone's health up. Yeah, not good. So again, learn the old way and the new way. But again, for those who are trying to maximize their brand on medical coding in the online space, use your resources. Again, one, like I said, medical coding is a niche community, but it's sub niche when you are specialized or you have experience in a particular specialty. And again, although there are many that are in that specialty, but you're the only one who can do it the way that you do it. So you may bring a gift to the table or some knowledge or some tips to the table that will help you in your online brand. Like I know several coding professionals, some remote, and they focus on the remote aspect. They focus on a lot of different things, but I know definitely remote aspects. Some people are like in-house. Like I've done both remote, in-house and remote, and yeah, and so I can speak to both of those aspects. But find your aspect, find your niche or your sub niche, and run with it. And don't be afraid to utilize AI as well to kind of help you with some of the mundane things so that you can move forward and progress into technology. So that's all that I have for this coding break. As always, if you have any questions or you like for me to speak to something in particular, please feel free to reach out to me via direct messaging or via commenting on the video. So until the next time, code on and take care.